Trade deadline has passed.
It has. There's
Ding,
still
ding,
a few things
ding.
trickling in, but I have not heard anything about any Blazers related stuff that was under the wire. So
No Blazer moves.
checking my phone.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything regarding the Portland Trailblazers. That falls pretty flat.
Doesn't really fall that flat. Been saying this for a month now.
Well, it does because hold on, but a month ago you were saying that in this isn't just you. I don't want to make it sound like it's just you. It was nobody's going to be making moves. The CBA is making it way too restrictive, and meanwhile we have seen a plethora of moves,
and a big part of that being the biggest move in trade history.
Yeah,
kind of being a pry bar for
what
ended up happening.
This isn't to say that the Blazers should have tried to go and acquire Jimmy Butler or Luka Doncic or Anthony Davis or Brandon Ingram or Zach LaVine or De'Aaron Fox or Andrew Wiggins or Kyle Kuzma, right? But they didn't get in on any of it. And this is where you're sitting there. How many of the other teams that are in the same boat as Portland got into some deals and said, you know what, we're going to collect more assets, valuable assets, and that is where it becomes that relationship business, right? Of that's what a front office's job is to do, right? Is you make those connections. You say, we've got things that are of value. We've been told that there have been there are veterans of value here in Portland, and obviously teams were buyers at the deadline, and there were some teams that took on a lot of bloated money that is going to be expiring, or there's going to be options at the end of the year that teams can get out of and wipe their hands of. And the Blazers were on the sidelines by all accounts and reports. Now, look, that's not to say that Joe Cronin was just sitting on his hands and not doing anything, and the front office was just not active at all. Maybe it didn't, none of the deals did come to fruition. But at the same time, we've been told they've had assets, right? And this is the time to move them. And when there's as much movement and as many variety of contracts are bouncing around the NBA, I can see how for a lot of Blazer fans it falls short. You don't sit there though and say, well, they just should have done something. No.
What's the thing they should have done? And how do you accomplish it? And what do you give back?
See, but
that's the thing is like, and this isn't defending them. I'm looking at all the deals that have transpired. There isn't a deal there where I like, oh, they should have got in on that. Like the DeAndre Hunter one, I supposed to be like, oh, I thought the Cavs might look that way. DeAndre Hunter is $7 million younger, and they didn't have to give up a first. And on the flip side of it, the Hawks were trying to get off of him. Like the Hawks are already putting out there publicly that they're shorting DeAndre Hunter. Like he's got one good year. Like, see you later, bye. Like because he's been so injury prone.
And by the way, that deal, the DeAndre Hunter, he goes to the Cavaliers. The Hawks get Karis LeVert, Georges Yang, 3 second-round picks and 2 pick swaps.
2 swaps, and the swaps are swaps of swaps, and the seconds, one of them is not going to convey because it's was it protected 40 through 60, something like that. So it's like, huh?
Yeah,
which is probably where it's going to fall, but it wasn't. If that's what you want to give up for Jeremy Grant, I mean, go ahead.
But this is the thing here. We can't look at these deals as that's the deal that would have happened, right? That Jeremy Grant is a valuable player, and it's not like you sit there and you plug Jeremy Grant in and you say, well, they're going to get the same return. No, it's a different return. And we're just throwing that out as an example, not like that it was talked about or even rumored about, right? The one that I look at, and the Luka Doncic trade, you said Dallas didn't even get the best pick.
No.
I think the one that
they still had assets.
I think the one that I look at and I'm like, okay, now it's not going to be the same package at the end of the day, but the Blazers, like there's a Williams here in Portland that probably makes a lot of sense in LA too. And Mark Williams goes from Charlotte to LA. Now his deal, he is only making $4 million this year, $6 million next year. Okay.
Yeah, he's still on his rookie scale deal.
Yes. Robert Williams makes 11 and 12. I believe, over the
Yes.
next 2 years.
Which, again, very, very, very good deal.
It is a very good deal. But you would have had to find a way to make the monies work. But think of the deal, and this is what Charlotte, they were wheeling and dealing, man. They get a sweetheart deal from the Lakers. They might have gotten a better deal from the Lakers for Mark Williams than the Mavericks got for Luka Doncic, for God's sakes. They get Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and an unprotected 2031 first-round pick and a 2030 pick swap from the Lakers there, right?
Yeah. No, that deal was massive, and the reason I was like, well, why didn't the Blazers get that? Because, well, Mark's bigger, younger, cheaper. That's why. He's what, 23? Yeah, he's 23. And here's the thing. He's very injury prone.
Very.
He has only appeared in 34% of the total games. Actually, no, 39% of total games coming into this season.
He has missed 2 games due to injury management, 1 game for a foot, 1 game for injury management, 20 games for a foot, 62 games for a back, 1 game for a back, 1 for an ankle, 6 for a thumb, 10 for an ankle, 3 for an ankle.
Yeah.
He is 23 years old.
Yeah. My man has got an Allen Iverson injury record
And
already.
that right there,
But the potential is sky high.
but that right there was 2031 first round pick, which is
Really good.
going to be a really damn good
So
pick.
they underpaid drastically for Luka, and they overpaid for Mark Williams.
So, and you say, well, he's younger, he's less expensive, and he's bigger. Robert Williams, when he is on the floor, he has his injury history too, is a better player.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would say the difference between him and Mark is that Mark is more of a, not that he has any more offensive game, but he's a guy that when he is healthy, which, God, that's a caveat, you see what he's done over the past couple of weeks. I think he's averaging like 20 and 12 or something along those lines over the last 2 weeks. Like, as good as Rob is more on the defensive side while being a vertical threat. We've seen him get above the box. Like, that's not the thing. But if the slider is, one way or the other, his is more on defense. He's definitely a lob threat. But if you're talking about like the best possible lob threats in the league to pair with Luka, Williams is top 3 on that list.
And I think of it in these terms, like, and this is what I hate, is like, I hate well, just do something, right? And it's that is a fool's game, and that is something that every front office is like, dude, these things are really hard, and they are difficult. What is frustrating, though, and it is undeniable, is that a lot of the teams that are in the Blazers situation right now, where they are not in winning time now, but they're trying to either accumulate assets via the draft compensation or young talent, right? Or expiring deals to position yourself in a position to get into winning time. The teams that are in that boat with the Blazers, a lot of them did make those moves, whether it is Utah, Charlotte, Toronto, and the Blazers didn't. And like, that is frustrating when you look at a lot of the teams that were in the same boat. It doesn't have to be a massive haul and be like, fleeced them. Absolutely not. But the mobility is something that we've heard about with, hey, we got veterans on good deals. Robert Williams is on a good deal. He is on he's not on a bloated deal, right? We're looking at these guys and saying, all right, where is that mobility that we've heard about? And that can be and is frustrating for a lot of Blazer fans that are out there, especially when you see, again, the other teams that are in the same kind of boat as Portland. They did some moves, and it's mostly on the margins.
And even the moves that were done, this isn't excusing the Blazers, because I'm going to go to the press conference and I've got a handful of questions that I've got ready for Joe Cronin, because I've said that I think that they should make a move here. But as I look back at the deadline so far and the intel that I've gotten, nothing has come across that I was like, oh, they definitely should have been in on that. How'd they drop that? How did they not put that together? And I'll find out more over the next couple days about things that were talked about and see if anything pops up that was like, brother, how did you fumble that? Kind of a situation. That just hasn't been the case. Is, being put out there as far as like what's, there you go. Now that the trade deadline's over, it's not the Blazers. The The Atlanta Hawks are trying to push Trae Young out of town, which is nothing new. But they've gone public with it. Chris Haynes is doing that on NBA TV right now, talking about the future with the Atlanta Hawks becoming murky. It's Jalen Johnson's team now.
Oh, Russ, we're gonna have to be on high alert for that audio. I want to get that from Haynes. Once that comes out, because that is pretty earth-shattering, especially when you see, the Trae Young post about the All-Star game, all that stuff, and all of the rumblings that have been out there. Look, the trade deadline did fall flat for Blazer fans. I know we just want moves and you want to be in on the action and all that stuff. And the reality of it is that, we won't know what was offered, what was on the table, what those conversations were, maybe ever, but we won't know them for another couple days, months.
Some stuff will leak out.
It'll come down the road.
Hey, this is the things they tried to get done. This is what, and you hear that all the time, and it's like, okay, well, that makes sense.
When did the Denny Avdia trade discussion start?
At the deadline
last year.
Yeah.
And it happened draft day.
I did the like a mailbag for Jack Ramsey's last night, and I started thinking about it. This feels like a front office that, like Orlando, like Milwaukee typically is operated, although there's some pressure on what they've done here. Like, I don't know if they covered themselves with glory here, trading for Kevin Porter Jr. there at the end. Nasty. But I get it. You're trying to win, so you maybe push some stuff to the side. But
smiles and glory holes.
Yeah, that. But I think that they're a team that just doesn't, or a front office that doesn't really like doing stuff at the deadline. I think they like to have the long run up to the offseason, and I think they like to have the draft and free agency all right there. It's not an excuse. Just thinking about how they operate, I think that's kind of how, like, they very clearly operate slower than other front offices. They are not reactive in that sense. And I don't know, maybe is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just something that I've been thinking about, is that are they a team that prefers to operate in the summer as opposed to deadlines?
Yeah, obviously they do, because they're not doing a whole heck of a lot. I mean, the CJ McCollum one was a deadline move.
It was a couple weeks before, but that was all of that stuff I kind of look at as like the stripping down of what that was.
But there's also, I think the biggest fear that Blazer fans have in this is that the 9 of their last 10 games, right? 5 wins in a row. I think you and I both agree on this. What has happened in the recent Blazer stretch of games where they are playing actually really good basketball, that has not changed their outlook on
changed it one bit.
The deadline or what they see this franchise as moving forward. Because the reality is, this is a small span of games.
It's 10 games.
It is a really damn good run of games.
And it's fun, but you don't make decisions based on this.
And it does not appear that is what is the case with the Portland Trailblazers. They still know stars win in the league. If you want to get over the hump, you need to have a star, and they have to get to that point right now. But you don't want to be stuck in the situation where, you have these deals that were seen as good and movable and assets that could be moved, and then nothing ever comes of them, right? Robert Williams has got 2 years left. Matisse Thybulle has got 1 year and a player option. Okay, after this year, he's got a player option for next year. That was one that I feel like people thought might be moved, right?
No, that's the thing is
that, because you have the chance of, that's the guy, if you're talking the vets, that's the guy that could leave this offseason and you get nothing out of him.
What, you mean next season?
Yeah, well, he's got a player option for next year.
He's not. Nothing out of that.
Well, I'm just...
yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't know.
I'd be pretty surprised.
It's $11.5 million.
I'd be pretty surprised with his medical history.
Yeah, but if you get talk about medical history, Lonzo Ball just got 2 years, $20 million. So if his agent is working a deal where it's like, hey, bro,
look, you want to talk about deals that surprise people?
We could get 2 for 20, or you got 1 more year at 11. Like that Lonzo Ball deal, but it happened.
I bet you that 2 for 20. Well, I mean, they can tack one on, but the Lonzo Ball deal had a lot of people in the NBA going, the hell is happening here?
Well, yeah, but I mean, tell me a team won't do the what the hell is happening?
Yeah, but it's just like they thought. A lot of people text me like, "Is this a sign and trade? Have you heard anything?" I'm just like, I mean, he's playing better and he looks mildly healthy.
Yeah,
but he had a surgery that has worked for like 1 out of 100 people.
Yeah,
like I hope it works for him, but I'm a little surprised they gave him. I would imagine it's a Zach Collins like deal that the Spurs gave Collins that was air quotes 21 million, but had almost no guarantees and a ton of outs.
So here's where the Blazers stand with their contracts, right? DeAndre Ayton has one more year left on his deal at $35 million. So it'll be an expiring deal next year. Expiring deals, more attractive. Also on an expiring deal for next year is Anthony Simons, right? Where he's got the $27 million for next year expiring. Robert Williams, $13.2 million next year. That is an expiring deal. And then Matisse Thybulle has a player option for next year and then will be an unrestricted free agent. Jeremy Grant has got $32 million next year, 34, and then a player option for 36. He ain't going off of that one. That and Jeremy Grant seems like that's been a name that's been floated out there for a really long time.
Yeah. And I think if you look at what guys went for, it was a lot of, as far as those guys, it was all guys like being shorted. Kyle Kuzma was given up for Chris Middleton, the corpse of Chris Middleton. The Cavs sent a couple of seconds and some filler for DeAndre Hunter. And so the Blazers are sitting there going, if the price is this low, why would we sell now? Because if you're at the floor, what does making a deal at the summer of it being one less second round pick, how much does that really hurt if there's an opportunity that somehow it recoups value? To me, it's a sunk cost at this point in time.
Well, and look, Kyle Kuzma also went, it's the corpse of Chris Middleton, but this is kind of where Blazer fans are like, AJ Johnson, right? You're betting on that. And we talked about that yesterday. Who was a first round pick this past year. It is what it is, but it's not like that is an earth shattering one as well. But they saw it as Chris Middleton, obviously depreciating asset. Kyle Kuzma wasn't getting them anywhere.
No,
and they have what? They're on a 3-game winning streak.
The
aren't
insane
they?
thing is the going full reminder here. The Dallas Mavericks and Nico Harrison. Boy, this looks significantly worse in hindsight. Remember, we mentioned this last week. Kyle Kuzma was almost a Dallas Maverick last year.
Yeah.
He had he didn't have a no trade clause, but he had some say in where he was going to go. And he turned down going to the Dallas Mavericks. Then Dallas Mavericks were going to give up 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma last year.
Yikes, dog.
Woof.
Yeah.
Woof.
Oh, man. All right.